How did Paul come to return here in 1990?
You know, I don't really. It was on the, as a matter of fact, it was on the Louisville Slugger. On syndication. I interviewed Teddy Long and Mark and Paulie. I don't remember how the deal was made for him to come back. I was off the committee by that point. I don't remember where Paul had been.
Did you guys get along?
Yeah, you see, we actually, the boys thought we hated each other long before we actually did. And since and we've covered this, or maybe we didn't in the preview, because actually it was '88, but Paulie and Dennis Conrad and Randy Rose would not have come to the NWA to begin with if it hadn't been for me and Bobby and Stan begging Dusty to bring him in. Mm-hmm. Because he had switched his babyface and then we lost Tully and Arn. They went to the WWF, September of '88, put the World Tag titles on us. Then he switched to Road Warriors heel, and they beat us for the belts and did the double turn kind of thing in New Orleans. But we had nobody to work with. We'd been making these huge checks against Tully and Arn and drawing these tremendous houses, 140 grand in Richmond, whatever the fuck, and all of a sudden we got nobody. Yeah. So I'd seen that Paulie was with Randy and Dennis in the AWA, and I came up with the idea where he came out on TV, surprise, hit me with the phone, I get the juice, the angle, right? Which, of course, got butchered in, that was Dusty's, last month as Booker. And then Jimmy Crockett took over and didn't like fucking Randy Rose. Yeah. And then George Scott came in and didn't like us.
We did that in the '89, yeah.
Yeah, so so that had been all fucked up. But basically, no, I liked the idea of having Paulie to work against. And when he came back here, I didn't have anything against him being there because, fuck, it's not like he's going to take a spot away from me. I barely had a fucking spot. All they were doing, at that point, the Midnight were barely working when Ole marginalized him even further because he wasn't going to die on that hill, as JR would say, against Herd. So he just left the Midnight Express off most of the time or had him do jobs on TV. And I was just doing commentary. So there was no problem with me and Paul. The legitimate problem, we worked the boys a lot. They thought there had to be animosity and there had to be hatred going back to that first angle. And we kept it kind of that way because if they believed it, then the people would believe it. But there was never animosity between me and Paul until ECW and Smoky Mountain when he screwed me on the Gangstas. But that's a whole different story for another day.
What do you think about his pairing with Mark?
I think it was probably one of the best things they could have done with Mark at the time because you put that guy, he could get anybody over with his promo, and at the same time, he probably imparted a little bit of psychology. As long as Mark was there, he wasn't going to be there too long before Vince saw talent and stole him and made him the greatest star in the history of wrestling.